What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of Nintendo Should, But Won't. It's a series on things I think Nintendo should do, things that everyone thinks Nintendo should do, but they're Nintendo, so they won't. Let's talk about Metroid Fusion on the Switch. We want it. We're excited for Metroid Dread. We want to play the last game before it that, chronologically takes place before Dread. We want a refresher on the story, but I don't want to go dig out a 3DS with an ambassador pass. I don't want to go, dig out the Wii U, hook it back up, and download it on the virtual console. And my GBA, it's there, but the Switch, right? Like, I want to play it on the modern handheld with the backlit screen or the, good battery life compared to the GBA SP. I want to be able to play with newer controls, more comfortable, wider controls than what was on the original offering. There's just so many reasons why we all want Metroid Fusion and other GBA games on the Switch, but Nintendo won't. And why is that? I think personally, with a lot of these things, Nintendo doesn't have to. They're in a place financially where it doesn't make sense for them to go ahead and drop those GBA games on the Switch online because their numbers on sales are so high. Why would they do that now? They'll wait for a dip and release that to bolster those sales. Call me crazy, but I mean, there's some evidence towards that. If you look at the way the Switch OLED is being released, where the only thing that's changing is the screen and some of the physical features, specifically the kickstand. But the internals, by and large, are the exact same. They might be in a different form factor as far as the motherboard goes, but the system itself will perform no different than a current Switch will or a Switch Lite. Given that, if they needed to release something new, then they would release something new. Technically, Switch OLED is something new, but it's going to replace. It's more of a replacement for the current model Switch as opposed to a Switch Pro that has a faster CPU and GPU or more RAM. It's just a model revision, like when they do the slim PlayStations every time those are released. The PlayStation itself doesn't change. You're still getting the same experience. The form factor is just a little better. Slightly. So that being said, you look at the things that you want and you just realize that if it comes to the point where Nintendo needs to release it or sees a financial benefit to releasing it, they will. On top of hardware sales, their software sales are still through the roof. I mean, Mario Kart 8 and Animal Crossing being some of their best-selling games on the platform years after the hardware has been released. And Mario Kart 8 was a launch title. And it does help that it was bundled with systems and continues to be part of these holiday bundles that come out and feature Mario Kart 8. But, that's the same reason we still don't have Mario Kart 9 yet. There's just not a need for it. And so hopefully in the future, we start to see where maybe Switch Online subscribers take a dip and they try to bolster that by releasing N64 or GBA games on there. Personally, when a new game in a series I really like is announced, I like to go back and try to revisit some of those older titles and try to play through them at least before the new game comes out as a refresher, especially with something like Metroid, where the last game chronologically was, a while ago, at least more than 10 years, right? So with that, I don't want to sit there and go in and not remember key points from the story. And Nintendo will likely have some kind of recap at the beginning of Dread that maybe negates going and playing through Fusion, but nothing replaces the experience of playing a game. Watching somebody play through a story-driven game isn't necessarily the same as playing it yourself, or hearing somebody tell you about an experience they had is never as good as you experiencing the thing yourself, right? And so Nintendo not having done this yet is really weird, and it's something we all expect. Again, Nintendo should do this, but they won't. And I say that with a yet, you know, the need for them just isn't there, because at the end of the day, Nintendo's a business like any other business, and they're going to do things that generate value and income and profits, and so they're going to want to hold on to these things that make the Nintendo Online service better until they need to like bolster those numbers. And who knows, by the time this video gets uploaded, they could have already announced Metroid Fusion. Just gonna go ahead and catch myself there. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, well, hey, you know what? Just tell me in the comments below. Tell future me if they actually release Metroid Fusion on the Switch or not. If you liked the video, be sure to like it. If you didn't, let me know that too. Be sure to subscribe for anything that's coming up next on the channel. And until the next one, just waggle enough.